All right, this Hangout on Air is live. This is Alicia Stringer, and we are women determined winning in our Inner Power Intensive boot camp that we're on with our fearless leader, Layla Black, is guiding us, and we have a group exercise today on who is our avatar. And some of the questions are that we're going to discuss. Finding that empathy map, what kind of pain did I identify with my target market, and how is this new knowledge going to help us market our brand? So we're going to discuss different ways in our avatar, and we've got a empathy map, so you can just Google empathy map and find tons of different resources and find your passion there. And Tina is going to go first, and we are going to want to know her target audience. What do they, there's like 4 questions, I guess. What do they think and feel? What do they see? What do they do, say, and what does he do? What does he say and do? And what does he hear? There are 4. And so first, start off with us. Who your avatar? What do they think and feel like?
Okay. My avatar, developing my avatar, I chose to use myself as a model for determining the avatar and finding, age groups, things of that nature. So my avatar centers around women age 45 to 50. I'm in the middle, 47, so that puts me like right in the middle. They are working women, also single moms who, like me, either already have older children and or single moms who have younger children and want to not have to take them to daycare. So one of my main focuses of my avatar is women who are ready and want to quit their jobs. So the thinking of myself and them is, well, for me personally, it's, I've been working too long, enough is enough. Corporate America, the 40-40-40 plan just does not work, because rather than building my own empire, I'm building someone else's. And on top of that, the thinking is, I'm going in, I really don't want to be there. That's the feelings that we get, but this is what I need to do right now, to pay the bills and whatever else it may be, or just tired of living the paycheck to paycheck life and looking for a way to break free of that, where not only to just pay the bills, but to be able to actually live and enjoy life. For me, I want to spend time traveling, out of the country. There's a few more countries that I also want to visit. I've checked off a couple, but I'm not done yet. And just the mind control of, to me, working a job, I have 2 sayings that I relate job to. One of them is just over broke, and the other one is jumping over bills. And the average person who has a job is doing one, the other, or both. And that's just really not a lifestyle at all. You're just caught up in the rat race, and it's kind of like, Groundhog's Day. Same thing day in, day out. Corporate America, to me, is just another method of slavery, because they want you to stay chained to your desk. They want to tell you how long you can take to eat your food. They want to tell you how much time you can spend on vacation with your family, things of that nature. And there's a lot of us out there that want to escape that. I don't know if I answered all the questions in one with that one answer, but I think I covered a lot on that. If I missed anything, just let me know.
Yeah, that's great. On one thing I think of, it's tough to answer, is what do they hear? What do their friends say? What do their boss say? Influencers around them say. So that's one of them that you can cover.
Okay. Well, one of the main things, as far as what people say, are, why are you wasting your money with that? Or it's a scam, that's never going to work. Why do you want to do that? Just keep working a job. If you're not happy with your job, get another job. Where I know that, changing the job is not going to change anything, really. The only thing you're going to change is your location. But there's always the negativity of that won't work. you know, and a lot of it, well, from the employers, you know, they don't want, they want to keep you working for them. They don't want to see you advance. They don't want to see you have more. And also a lot of family and friends, unfortunately, feel the same way because, you know, they're not ambitious enough to go after their own dreams, so they try and hold you back from reaching your own dreams. You know, I mean, some of the negative things that I've heard, you know, as far as, you know, well, you got to have an education. Without education, you can't get this, you can't get that. Where, you know, a degree really doesn't define anything. Because I know plenty of people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars getting a degree and don't even work in the field that that degree is in because it's just not available for them. And there's so much to be learned outside of schools, so to speak, because, you know, they just don't teach certain things in the schools. Schools, in my opinion, teach you how to get a job and maintain that job. And to me, staying in a job is just not a lifestyle where you can really, really live and enjoy life.
Great job. I think you did awesome, Tina. Woohoo! I think you got it narrowed down, so now you know exactly your avatar and where they might hang out and be able to really help them. All right, next. I think Sue might be ready.
All right, guys. So I did two different things. I actually wrote down stuff on paper about my avatar, but then I also wanted to go in and write down what would a day in their life be like. So I actually went, and I didn't do the whole day, but I did a big chunk of the day, and I just wrote down what would their life be like from the time they get up until they went to bed that night. And I thought that that exercise of doing that, because you really had to think about that, really helped me. Yeah, I can definitely see why that's painful for them. So just to go over a couple of things that I wrote down, and then I'll read you just a little bit. Don't worry, it's just big writing here. It's not that much. My avatar is, just like Tina was saying, is someone just like her. For me, I definitely relate to someone who has a desire to be home with their child, that they feel like they're missing, especially single. If you only have one child and you know that you're only going to have one child, that you don't want to miss their entire development. You don't want to miss those milestones, the first steps, the first words, riding a bike, all of those things that you take them and you drop them off at daycare and then they say, hey, they said they took their first step today, and you're like, you know, you're like, I missed that. Did you videotape it? Like, videotape's not around anymore, but you guys know what I mean. You missed it. You didn't even get to see it or capture it, and you're like, okay, I don't want to miss any more of those. So it's just this constant pain of, I'm missing all of these milestones. I'm missing the field trips that I want to go on. And I see these other parents have made a decision, but I feel stuck because I've been told, and I went to school, and I got this degree, and I graduated from college. My avatar is basically 35 to 55 years old, and it's a little bit of a bigger spread. But having gone to college, a college graduate who thought they were going to get a good paying job, and then they found out that there wasn't a good paying job, even with that college degree. And you almost feel like you got slapped in the face, because then you have a child, which you always plan to do. You always plan to start a family. And you have the child, or children, and guess what happens? You realize that now you have this child, and you have to keep working because you have these bills, especially maybe college loans to repay, and then you add in the expense of childcare, and you add in the expense of work clothes, and you add in the expense of buying gas to get to a job that's maybe a long commute away, and then you add in the fact that you have hours stacked on each end after you drop your child off, so your child is at daycare or surround care, or whatever their age is, for this really long day. Not just the school day, but time before school and time after school. So the time that you get to spend with your child is that 30 minutes to an hour in the morning when you're rushing around trying to feed them breakfast and it's all tense, and if the milk spills, you're just trying not to jump out of your skin and yell because you don't want the milk to go under the refrigerator and spoil, because guess what's going to happen then? The whole kitchen will smell. So you're like all stressed out. You're in your work clothes and you're trying to climb under the refrigerator to wipe the milk off so it doesn't stink. I mean, that's just the stress, isn't it, of a day of someone who's going to work feeling like they're barely making more than they're paying for daycare and wondering, this is not what I imagined. When I was a child, my mom stayed home with me and there was none of this stress. It was, I get to eat home-cooked meals. Now here I am. I'm rushing home after work thinking, okay, I've got about 10 minutes to run in that store, get some boxed food so I can pretend like I made home cooking, come home, rip open the box, put it in the oven so it kind of looks like home cooking, but really it's just additive and preservatives, which I feel guilty about because I want them to eat healthy. But that's all the time I have because there's baths and there's homework and there's all this stuff. And by the time you can even think about taking a breath, you're just so exhausted. And then you're thinking it all starts again tomorrow. So basically you are living for your day off, whether that's the weekend or during the week, but that day off isn't very fun because guess what happens on the day off? Catch up on laundry, catch up on all the housework that you didn't get to do all week because it was too much stress and exhaustion. So my 35 to 55-year-old is not only thinking about all that, they've started having their family later in life because they wanted to have, they had to because they didn't have the money. They had to have some money before they could start a family, right? So they started later, but now they're thinking about, okay, I've got to raise this child, I've got college to pay for, and they're still in this mindset of college, right? It works so well for me. College works so well for me. I'm making all these big bucks, and I'm not spending any time with my family, so let's just stay on that college tuition plan, right? They haven't figured out yet that that's probably not the best way. So they're thinking, I've got to pay for college. I've got to pay for maybe if they have a daughter, help pay for that wedding. I've got to think about my parents. They're getting older, and how the heck am I going to pay for that, let alone my own retirement, because we're going backwards instead of forward like our parents did. So there's all these things that I'm thinking about all the time. So how can I even entertain the idea? How can I entertain the idea of quitting my job? Don't I need this money? But that gnawing thing in the back of their head is saying, but I'm only making a few dollars because I'm spending everything I'm making on childcare, which I think is a bad thing for my child, so I'm feeling guilty about that. The rest of the money is going to work clothes, which I could get rid of if I would stay home, and buying all this expensive food because I sometimes don't have time to pack my lunch, so I end up buying this expensive food, and I end up buying Starbucks because I'm so exhausted and I need to wake up. And the coffee at work is disgusting, so I have to buy something that I actually like. And it's honestly my little guilty pleasure because I need something because my life is not what I want it to be. And then I come home and it's just, I'm trying not to be on edge instead of being able to enjoy the moment with my family. I'm trying not to be on edge. So, guys, I just want to read you a little bit. It's not that long. It'll take me like 2 minutes to read this. And this is how I see my avatar on a typical morning. A typical morning is not very fun. And I can relate to everything. My avatar can relate to everything Tina was saying, plus everything I was saying. But my avatar's name is Christine. And she's a mom with only one child. And this is basically how her days go. Christine woke up this morning feeling behind, thinking about how she wished she had another few minutes to linger in bed, but that seldom happened. It would be time to wake Emily up in 30 minutes and get her dressed and organized and ready for school, fed, everything that she had to do, and be ready to head out of the house so they wouldn't be late for school and work. So she heads to the shower for a nice long, wishing she had time for a nice long relaxing bath with time to read a book, a good book, but it's not happening anytime soon. 30 minutes to shower, dress, make lunches for her and Emily, then wake Emily up and get her going. For her, making lunch was to stay on budget, eating out was expensive, and for Emily, she wanted to know what she was eating for lunch. It took away a tiny bit of the guilt of not knowing what quality the food was at school, or if it was GMO and full of additives and other crap she thinks is dangerous. Ugh, even their dog looked sad, knowing they would leave soon, and he'd be home all alone all day. Mike, her husband, left an hour ago already. So basically, it was all up to her again, even though he pitched in as much as he could. In the car, buckled up and getting out of the house on time for once, she gives herself a little atta girl for not losing it when Emily spilled her milk because she was tired and being forced to eat before she was ready. How she longed to be home with her daughter, just like her mom was, making home-cooked meals that didn't start in a box, and snuggling under the covers with Emily with a flashlight and a good book, going to wonderful imaginary worlds and on fun adventures, especially on school breaks when Emily didn't get to enjoy her break because she had to stay at childcare the way things were now. After dropping Emily off at school and explaining to her that she or her dad would pick her up as soon as we could after work, but she knew how it was, we often got called in to stay late, she rushed out of the parking lot, realizing now she was late and had to get all the way across town, stressed out, and not looking forward to her day at all. So that's all I wrote, but basically her day would continue along that route, constantly stressed and needing relief and not being able to be present with her child and being on edge and flying off the handle, to be honest, sometimes because there was just too much stress and not enough precious moments.
That was very powerful, Sue. You hit the nail. You did really good.
Well, it's pretty easy to relate because that's pretty much how my life was when I worked for other people. It really was stressful and stunk, and I tried it when Emily was from 2.5 to 4.5. I worked, and then later on, just a few years ago, I tried to go back a little bit, and it was just moms just have so many. We're just in most families. I don't want to like assume because there are some dads, but for a lot of us moms, we hold the family together, and we're the ones that pick up the slack. Dad kind of feels like I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna make some money, I'm gonna come home, but I'm tired, and I'm gonna go out and work in the yard or whatever. But you're gonna take care of the kids, right? You're going to make sure that homework's done. You're going to make sure those baths are done. You're going to make sure the food's ready. You're going to make sure the shopping's done. And yeah, I'll pitch in if you ask me to do something specifically, but I'm going to go do my guy stuff. And so there's a lot of stress on a lot of us. And I think my avatar believes that the programming from when we were raised, and me too, although my parents did give me a little bit of entrepreneurial ideas when they started becoming property owners and having rental property, but the idea that we're going to go to college and make a bunch of money when the reality is for a lot of people they graduate college and they're offered a $15 an hour job. Frickin' a $15 an hour job? When I went in debt for God knows how much, I mean, that's just not happening. That is not going to take care of me. It's not going to give my family what I want. And the going backwards. Instead of saving for your retirement, you're losing traction and you're going backwards, and your standard of living is going down instead of up. So not only are you not raising your standard of living, you're also missing your child's life. It stinks.
Very true. One thing you forgot to mention as well. Sorry, I don't have my headphones in. Let me lower my
Yeah.
volume a little bit. Is the what does she hear? The different. What does her friends say? What does the influencers say? What does the boss say about maybe this change or something that you want to do to change the situation?
Hang on. Well, for my avatar, there's just this little, right now, a little bit of a background noise in the back of their head where she's secretly gone online after everybody's gone to bed and started looking for ways to make money from home, thinking there's got to be something else where I can't do worse. I'm making $15 an hour, so I can't do worse. I've got to be able to replace this. It can't be that hard. But she's kind of at the point right now where, because she's been fed this grow up, get a job, make some money, have your child, go ahead and put them in daycare. You can see them on holidays. You can see them on your vacation. And she's not hearing from any of her friends that they're going out and starting their own business. She's hearing the exact same thing from her friends that she's experiencing, and it's kind of become that bonding time where they can grumble together. It's really easy to complain together. And so she has said to her friends every once in a while, yeah, I'd really like to stay home, but it's been more like a joke. Well, who wouldn't? Yeah, I'd like to too, but yeah, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. How can you guys afford that? And then they complain about daycare costs being so expensive, or surround care being so expensive, that before and after school care. And yet they don't have any ideas when she's starting to try to do some investigation for herself and trying to figure out if there's something better for them that can get them to the goals that they thought they were going to be able to achieve when they got their college degrees. Both her and her husband have college degrees. Her husband has a nice union-paying job. So they're kind of in middle class, but middle class is becoming smaller and smaller, and middle class is slipping away. So instead of going from middle class to upper class, middle class is starting to be scary because you're going to lower class now. You're not climbing the ladder anymore. When you work hard, it's not working for you anymore. So she realizes that, but she's still hearing from all of her friends that, yeah, but you guys need the money. You always say you need the money. So how can you quit? So it's just the same thing that she was raised with. Go get good grades so you can get a good job, so you can impress your boss, so you can get hired and be a good employee, show up on time, work hard. And she's starting to feel like, yeah, I'm working hard, but I'm never getting a raise. When I get a raise, it's so small that the prices at the grocery store have gone up more than my raise. So every month I'm starting to figure out, okay, I still want to be healthy with my family, feed them something good that I'm not hearing in the news is going to kill us or hurt us or make us more sick, but I can't afford those things. And if I'm working and I can't afford those things, and my husband's working and we still can't afford those things, and our car's getting older and we need to replace that, and a car, just a normal car, is almost $40,000, just a little, nothing special. How are we going to do that? Something's got to give. Something's got to change.
Very good, very good. I like how you went very Pacific. And now I think it's my turn.
Yes. Let me mute myself out.
Okay. So, y'all can hear me okay? I have done this exercise several times, and I feel like I do it with each audience. I'm marketing something different. And so I'm just going to do like one generic like brand, I guess I should say, like y'all did for me, because I do this kind of avatar, like searching my target audience for everything I'm offering, and what would that type of person want, because what I'm offering. So what does she think and feel? And I say she, but most of my audience I know is men, and I've actually had more men join my business than women, and so that kind of questions me a little bit, because it's like, how do I relate to them? But the way I relate to them is, if it's men that I'm kind of mostly been attracting, is because of my like go-getter work ethic attitude, and it's because they are going to do whatever it takes to make it happen for their business, their life, and it's like it's got to be done, right? And then also, I guess because of my Christian beliefs and how strong I am and what I believe, and I think that stands for who the person is. They're very strong-minded. So they think and they feel about their life and how they go about doing things. And what do they see? They see things that need to be changed. They either see that their living environment needs to be better. They want to finally, feel like they can provide more, go on those trips a lot easier, be able to have the bills paid, done, and be able to extravagate on different gifts and stuff, make more an investment for a better future, and so forth. So what do they say and do? They always want to say those inspirations to help be a positive influence around people, but knowing their true pain is that they're sick and tired of that, just the same bill cycle, not even ever being able to sometimes pay the bills, or you're sprinkling the bills, or making the bills, and that same rotation cycle, and just sick and tired of that. And they gain more gratification in what they're doing, and gratification in that they're truly having a purpose in helping people and seeing that change in people. That's why I think a lot of mine have been more Christian beliefs. They want to see that change in their strong belief and what they believe in, and they have a higher purpose. They want to keep gaining that true fulfillment in their lives. So what do they hear about around us? They hear what friends are saying to them and why they're going through the change. Sometimes they don't really understand what they're doing and where they're coming from, and not seeing results quite yet. And that can be the frustrating thing. You said this over and over, we want to see some results, and they're just not seeing results, and they want to that accomplishment with results that they can be able to produce. And sometimes they won't join because they don't see results fast enough, and they just get frustrated in that it should be like a job, like you go there and you get paid, but it's not, because you don't see the results fast enough. And sometimes they'll stick it out long enough because they know this is a long journey, and they know that results will come eventually if you stick with it. And I think that's the thing that I keep gravitating back for, going, you've got to figure out what's the long-term desire, what's going to keep them going till they get a result. Even though the result might not happen in a week, it might not happen after this one test that they go through, that they still want to feel accomplishment that they got, they tried this and put it out there and was able to accomplish that and put that together. So I feel like I was very generic. It's very hard, I think, to discuss it in like the opposite kind of sex in a way that what they're looking for, but and I've struggled this with Layla too. She's like, oh, it's all the women that we're targeting. I'm like, no, it's been mostly men in my audience, and mostly men have joined me. And so I've watched more of Tracy Walker and how she's attracted a lot of men in her business as well, and what are the things that what she does and what a powerhouse woman she is and who she speaks and how she does it, that men gravitate toward that and understand where she's going and respect that. And I'm coming from a family where my dad would never work for a woman, and he's plain told me he's never will work for a woman. And so when he, you know, discusses this with me, we have this kind of wall put up a lot because of that factor, I think. And I've learned a lot from way he does business to that, if it's a woman or not, they still have a voice in who they are and what they represent and what they do. And so we've had these little discussions and that, and that's been one of my avatars, feeling of that, going, who is your exact avatar? And a lot of women have that women avatar, but me, it's kind of been a lot of men that's been my avatar, and how I bring them in business. And it's so odd, but I mean, I've signed up a lot of women as well, so, but I see they have those same kind of qualities. And finding that in the different products and stuff that I represent, I'm having to adjust a little bit, because I really do want to market and share how powerful these women products are that are just for women, but yet, you know, my audience is men, and I have to adjust that in a way that, you know, these are for women, and the men, you know, respect that this is special for women that have all these different type of roles and going through this transition in their lives. That, and speaking with some men, I see how the roles can be similar and induced, especially in the roles that some of the women have the same feelings of how the men are in that position. So I've come to go back and relate to it can be both ways on the relationship between men and women, and in their business, and how they run their business and want to get results like that. So I've learned a lot through this avatar process, and being able to relate and understand where people are and all these different feelings and all how they are represented and who they are, what their beliefs are, to why they do things the way they do. And I think that's when we understand that whole avatar process, it gets more clear where people are coming from, and you be able to relate to them a lot easier, and be able to help them with their problems, what you want to help, so give them solutions for. And so hopefully that's okay for you guys. I'm going to go through it deeper with every product that, every launch that I do, every like little channel, like Instagram account that I do, that I want to be very clear that this avatar channel is for this, or this is who I am, or making sure my keywords are right. And so I'm always going through this process, and every launch and everything I'm doing, like even separate from like the local businesses, and who their avatar is and what do they represent, and getting into their business and how they can attract the professionals in the world and how they can be right. So not only for myself, but looking at other people's and who they've attracted, and even like the different type of network marketing companies, they attract a certain type of person in there, and it's pretty amazing. Going, oh my goodness, you see all these people are similar because of how that company represented this, you know, certain way. Like Avon mostly has women, you know, has attracted, but they have this women kind of attitude, and they really love helping the women. So they either like their skincare or have representatives some way that why they got involved into Avon. So it's kind of weird. And even the different kind of companies on who they represent, you got to understand the different type of people that they attract, and understand that these certain companies are going to attract this type of people, and when you go after this type of people, you need to make sure that you're aligned with them, or they're not going to join, right? So I have learned that along my avatar experience. So does that help you guys out? I don't know where I'm in. Christy will do her avatar training, as well as oh my gosh, I just went blank.
Laura.
Yes. And oh, I can't believe I went blank. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Laura is out enjoying husband time, family time, so that's all good.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking when you were talking about your avatar, Alicia, was when I sold cars, I would know, I would start recognizing different personality types when they would come into the dealership. It would take you about less than 5 minutes to realize, oh my gosh, this is type A personality. All they care about is facts and figures. Get out the specification books about this car and show them the engine size. They had already looked it all up online. They were just basically wanting to see, do you know? And they may have two different models that they want to compare yours against another make and model from another dealership, and you just had to give them the facts and the figures, and that was going to make their decision. It didn't matter to them how it wasn't really a key factor how comfortable was the seat. They wanted the facts and figures and how the heck does this car look while I'm driving down the road, because I've got a certain swag going about me, and I need to look just so when I've got my hand on the car and I've got that polish on the car, and I need to look that way. And that's how that person was. Other people would come in and they were concerned about, my back's killing me all the time, and I have a long commute, and I need a car that's comfortable. It needs to have enough leg room, and I need to have a lumbar support. And you would walk around that lot looking for a car with a great lumbar support and good leg room, and they don't care so much about what the outside of the car looks. They wanted those features. Other people, they just needed a car to get to work, and it had to be in the right payment. So that's kind of how avatars are. We have to kind of figure out, okay, who are we going to talk to? In a car dealership, you don't have that choice, because whoever walks in the door is who you talk to. But in a marketing, how we're marketing, we do have the choice of taking something that we have a passion for and building a brand around that and specifically talking to those people. And I know that I was personally hung up a little bit about talking to too big of an audience. Not being afraid that if I talked to just women who only had one child, like me, and I knew that, for me, I didn't go into this on my avatar, but it could be a part of my avatar. I had to go through infertility treatments to have my daughter. And so for me, knowing that from the beginning, when I had her, that this was my one daughter, chances of me having another child were very minimal, because I had her just before my 37th birthday. And so here I'm thinking, okay, I only have one chance. And to me, if I have one chance to see all these milestones, not that it's different when you have multiple children, because they're all their own unique individual and you don't want to miss it, but for me, that was always in my mind. Okay, I had to work I had to work a lot, really hard to have this child. And I want to be there for her life. And so to key in on an avatar that's that specific, women who have gone through infertility treatments and wanting to have a child that badly, and then having to make that decision, I went through all this to have my child, and now I'm going back to work, but I don't want to be here. I want to be with my child. To go that narrow I didn't think that was possible before we had this training this week. And then I saw some of the brands and the numbers of the staggering statistic. I can't remember who shared it, about how many people are online looking for solutions, and how many people you actually need on your team to make a successful business. And it's so much better to have people that can relate and you're talking their language than to have some person over here that you can't talk their language, and if they're a type A personality and you're not a type A personality, and they're looking for facts and figures and all these things, and that's not you at all, and they're looking at you for training and how, like you said, your avatar, you said strong Christian beliefs. They are used to going out and bringing home the bacon, and they want to be able to plug in and know that they're going to get a result. I'm going to do this, and am I going to get a result like a paycheck? And they don't have maybe the patience to realize that it's something where you have to plant the seeds and then wait a whole season before you're going to be able to harvest that. And so knowing that and knowing what kind of personality that you're going to also be able to work with, because there's some personality types when they would walk into my dealership that I knew that, okay, this was the kind of personality that would challenge me more because it wasn't my type of personality. And I had enough practice to be able to do that. But it's a little different when it's a 2 or 3 hour and then some follow-up relationship than when it's a team member who's going to be with you for hopefully years. So it certainly makes sense to really hone in on who you want to work with. For me, I like holistic health. I like organic gardening. I hate cigarettes and smoking and all of that stuff because I was raised in a household where I was forced to be around that, and I was sick my entire childhood because of it. So I want to stay far away from that stuff. So to me, I am looking for people, basically I'm looking for people that I would want to be friends with. And if you look at it like, hey, those are kind of people I want to hang out with at my house. Because to me, this industry, because you're building teams and you're going to spend so much time with your team, that you want to be around people that, yeah, let's go hang out. That, you know, the work's done now. Let's go hang out. Let's talk about other things. Tell me what you did with your family this week. So it really helped me. I think doing an avatar is really, really important. And I don't think I had even put enough attention at all into that aspect of growing a business before. I was basically shooting arrows out there, hoping that somebody would buy something from me and make some commissions. And I wasn't focusing in on, you know, people would just come in and I would try to help them, but sometimes it was difficult to help them because they weren't where they needed to be to make those strides. And I don't know if you guys can relate, but I'm definitely going to change my approach about how I do my marketing.
I can definitely relate to that, and doing the avatar project has helped me the same way, just like you, because between that and with the training by Rhonda in The Unstoppable Dream, which unfortunately for most is not available anymore, but I always had a problem, the same situation where it was, you know, they say if you're targeting everyone, you're really targeting no one. You know, you can't market to everyone. But you feel like, you know, well, this is a piece of me, and this is a piece of me, and this is a piece of me, and this is a piece of me, so I can talk to this person, and that person, and that person, and that person. And in the end, the only person you're talking to is yourself. Because, you know, until you actually narrow down, you know, you really aren't speaking to the right people. So between, you know, like I said, that training in the Unstoppable Dream that Rhonda did and this avatar project, it makes it kind of easier for me to, I mean, listen, we're all, in reality, we are multiple people, you know, because like you said, I mean, you have one avatar, Sue, that is, you know, the single mom who went through the fertility to get pregnant. That's one avatar. There's a lot of people out there who can relate to that. Then you have also your second avatar is the holistic health, you know, along with the reasons why you stay away from the smoking and everything. That's part of your story. So those are things that you can, that's two separate avatars for you there, you know, and like I had mentioned to you guys, I started a new Instagram account that I want to gear to particular people. That for me would be another avatar. So I think really, really when you hone in and you look at yourself and you look at, you know, your prior experiences in life, what you've gone through, how your life was growing up, it helps you to narrow that target. One of the biggest things that Rhonda talked about in that training was you have to narrow. You have to narrow. Otherwise, I mean, it like they told us with the stats on the number of people that are online. You know, there's no way you can market to everybody, but with one small percentage, you're still targeting thousands and thousands of people. So, like the way Rhonda said it, you know, she said something along the lines of you know, if you you shoot the arrow in the basket of the right ones, you're bound to hit, the right people. But if you're just shooting blindly, it's very unlikely that you're going to hit anybody. You may get lucky and you may not, but if you target and narrow it down as far as possible. And that's what helped me to narrow down to, the age group, and, even, one of my avatars, again, like I had discussed with you, which I think I figured out I'm going to have to do that as a separate avatar, but, being able to, how I can relate to, victims of domestic violence, that was part of my past. That's something that I can talk to people about, something that I can relate to them on and show them a path away from it, because a lot of times, people feel like they have to stay in that situation because, I don't have the money to be out on my own, or this, whatever the reason is, but to be able to show them that there is a different path and you can do this, and it doesn't take, thousands and thousands of dollars to get yourself started. I think that's one of the hardest things that people don't understand, because, like you were talking about with your avatar, where, she needs to go to Starbucks to get the coffee. The amount of money, I don't drink coffee, but the amount of money that you spend in a week alone in Starbucks, because I know people that drink Starbucks and they are not cheap. And the money that you spend in 1 week is enough for you to get yourself started in the business, and it will cover your expense for the entire month. And that, because that's one of the main excuses that people use. Oh, I don't have the money for that. And then the next one is, oh, I don't have the time. But the time that you spend watching TV, spend that time investing in your business. To take that time, focus not on what's happening on the latest reality TV show, but what's the new tools that are available to you in your business. And it is a mind shift. It's not something that happens overnight. I'm at a point where, TV is not a concern for me. Even when I turn on the news, it's basically just to see what the weather forecast is, which I really don't even have to do that, because I can just look at my phone and that'll tell me what the weather forecast is, because there's just so much negativity. And, cable itself is so overrated. Either what's on it you've already seen or you don't want to see. So why bother? Get rid of the cable bill. That's extra money where you could put into a business. So it can be done. It's just a matter of people having the right mindset and the determination and the willingness to keep going until they get there. Because just like Alicia was saying, a lot of people, they're looking for results overnight, and it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of the leaders in our company, they got started coming into this business where some things were already established for them. So yeah, it may look like it was a little easier for them, but then when you think about it, before they had that establishment, there was something that they went through as well. Everybody starts at the beginning. And I think that's one of the hardest things for people, is to get over the learning curve and get past that hump, and to stay with it until they start to see the results that they really want, because they're looking for it overnight, and that just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and until people come to that realization and get involved in things like we are with the Inner Power Intensive and just our businesses as an entirety, the education that you need that will teach you the proper ways to target the people that you're looking for, how to relate to people. A lot of people just aren't willing to do it. They're so stuck in the, get a college degree, get a good job, and that just, it doesn't work. It didn't work for our parents or our grandparents. It's not going to work for our children, okay? And that's one of the reasons why, I set an example for my kids. And even, I took my youngest, Tiana, with me to an event, because I wanted her to be exposed to the other side, so to speak, and for her to be able to be there and see people that are 18, people that are my age, people that are 70, and everybody together in one community and doing it. I think that is a major impact on a teenager, because it's just not something that they see on a regular basis. So I'll shut up now and let somebody else talk.
Oh, you're perfect, Tina. I love it. And I love how y'all described your experiences with it, because I think that's where we really excel and getting deeper into our avatar with the experiences that we have through that, because that's where we learn from each other. It's just going through those different experiences like you guys have had to share how we can be more aligned with our avatar and everything. So that's why I don't have much to say. I have some of y'all's experience. So I'm gonna say that we covered it there, and I'm looking forward to seeing Christy and Laura, and I know they have some powerful avatars that they're gonna share their experiences through and making sure their avatar is aligned. Anything else, you guys, before we end this, to make sure everybody watching this should join in the Inner Power Intensive? Well, the women, and I don't know, for next time they're kind of discussing that for January, but making sure you get in touch with us to see how you can get involved. Anybody who invited you to this link, we're welcome to. Anything, last words?
I was just going to say, yes, if you, whether you're at a point where you already have a business and you're trying to fine-tune everything and really starting to gain momentum, the boot camps can help you do that. But if you're not even at that point yet and you've resonated with anything that we've said as we've been talking about the type of people that we want to help move to a different place in their life, to a different place where there's more freedom and flexibility and potential in your life, then definitely look for a link on this page or just hit us up on Facebook or something like that. We're going to be putting up links. I'm sure that I know I have my link ready. I'm going to put it up and embed this, and I bet that Alicia and Tina are going to do the same. But the boot camps, don't be intimidated if you don't feel ready to dig in this deep, because like we were saying, you all start at the beginning. Every one of us started at the beginning. When I came online trying to investigate if this could work for me, to make this shift in my family and not having to work and still be able to create some income for our family and income disclosure. I'm not saying that you can create any kind of income at all. But I didn't know any of the terminology. I was struggling to move files around on my desktop. If you have a will, you can learn. And if there's anything we have in this community, it's training. We have so much training that you're going to not even know where to start. You're going to have to hit us up and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish, and then we point you in the right direction. So don't feel like there's not going to be support for you. There's so much support for you, and it makes all the difference when you get away from the people in your life that don't know any better, because that's all they've ever known is the same thing that's been around for 200 years in this country, and it's just now, in the last probably decade or so, starting to shift, where people are actually becoming, more of the masses, more of a bigger, larger group are starting to say, hey, you know what, I don't want to be an employee, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a business owner. And if you like those ideas, go out and read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and start realizing how much of a hole you're digging for yourself by being an employee. Think of it this way, because this is something that people can relate to. And it's not exactly on the avatar point, but it is, because it's all business. And that is, think of when you go buy your house, okay, and versus renting. When you rent your house, you're just paying rent to someone, and you're not acquiring any asset, you're not gaining anything for yourself. Up until recently, when we had the housing bubble that burst, when you bought a house and you were paying a mortgage, you were pretty confident that when at some point in the future you could sell your house and recoup your investment plus more. And so that's a shift that everybody can kind of understand. But the shift of going from an employee to a business owner isn't always a shift, and it takes some getting into the community. And the boot camp is a great way. You're not committing yourself to anything. You're coming in and you're seeing if you like the feel of the community, and you're getting some knowledge and ideas. And that's what I love about it. You come in, you spend a month with us, and see what you think of the community, see what you think of the idea of becoming your own business owner. And that starts getting the juices flowing, and you go, wow, I didn't know I could turn my passion for dogs into a business. I didn't know that I could turn my passion for having the latest fashion, I love clothes, into a business. I didn't know that I could turn my love of plants and showing people how to grow the most amazing plants in their life into a business. I didn't know I could show people how to go out and fix their car into a business. Pretty much, when you come online, you can turn just about anything you would love to do into a business. And that's what this community is about, is showing you how to make the life that you want, doing something that you love to do, that it gets you going out of bed in the morning into a business that you're excited to work every day, that doesn't feel like work. Did you guys ever, the first time I found something in college that I had never tried before, which was photography, and back then it was actually in a dark room, it wasn't digital, where I didn't know anything about it, and I went in there and I started figuring out how to put the film out of the can and put it on the reels and dip it into the developer and hang all the pictures up on clotheslines. And I would go in there and spend hours, and it felt like I was in there for 5 minutes because I was just so immersed and loving the entire process. And that's what a business of your own can feel like, because you're doing something you have passion for every single day. So I encourage you, even if you have doubts, what's going to happen when you click the button? You're going to go see a video from Layla, who's the founder of this amazing group of women, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about who this boot camp is for. And you haven't committed to anything by watching that video, so click the link, watch Layla's video, and then decide. And then we look forward to welcoming you into this amazing group of women, into this family, really, and hearing your story and hearing your goals. So that's it for me.
How sweet. You're powerful, Sue. And it's all in what you put in it is what you're going to get out of anything in life, right? So put in all your effort to make sure that this is what you want, and when you plug in, you're going to get right back out the powerful aspect that you want out of it. So I'm excited to see people plug in with all their power and get tons of power. Much from you guys that we already have. Very powerful. I'm so excited. We got this done, and you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.